All right, guys. So today I'm going to be revealing my exact hiring structure that helped me to get to millions of dollars in revenue and when I hired each role and how I find rock star talent. I think it's very fitting because I just got off a team sales call. Speak Get Ready to Cash has one of the best teams in the world. We truly are world class. And that is where we want to start today. And this is really in honor of day 26 of Deleted History because today's woman who changed the world is Lillian Harris Payne. She actually was the right hand to Maggie Lena Walker, who was the first woman to charter a bank. Maggie Lena Walker's granddaughter actually is going to be speaking, great-great-granddaughter is going to be speaking at Black Women Sell Live. And if you have not gotten your ticket to Black Women Sell Live, go to blackwomensellavent.com and get your ticket or comment waitlist. This is the first day that those tickets are available to the general public, okay? So comment waitlist and get your ticket to Black Women Sell Live. Shout out to those of you who got your ticket. Yesterday's platinum is 60% sold out. We are rocking and rolling with this launch. I'm so excited about it, but I wanted to talk about hiring because that is a big piece of what we're going to be talking about at the event. We literally have a Black woman billionaire coming to speak, and if you're wondering who the speakers are, then stay tuned because tomorrow at the Black Women Sell launch party, I will be making sure to reveal some of the incredible speakers. But you know we got to keep some things hush hush because we always got to have some surprises. But if you want to get your ticket to that, I will go ahead and give you a place to get your ticket for that. Boom, go ahead and get your ticket to the launch party there or click the link in my bio if you're on Instagram. You may be able to comment party and get your ticket on Instagram for that, but I'm not 100% sure. But let's get into this content. So Lillian Harris Payne was the right hand to Maggie Lena Walker. She literally was the person who helped her to run the back office. She was steering mortgages to Black people at a time where banks did not think that we were safe bets. And she really helped her operationalize the company. I love this because so often when we hear about the historians, the women who made history, the women who made millions back in the day, we don't always think about who was on the team. Like, who were the people on the team making things happen? Because that is exactly who Lillian Harris was. And one of the things that I learned from her in hiring was that you need to have a really big vision if you want to have A players on your team. That means that they're not interested in your goal of making $200,000 because they may want a $200,000 salary. So you want to make sure that your vision is so big that before they're seeing the financial resources materialize for them, they are able to attach themselves to the vision. And you got to have standards because it doesn't matter who works in your company. A company's culture, and I heard this from Layla Hormozy, and I really liked it. She says, show me your worst performing, laziest employee. That's your company's culture because that's what you tolerate in your company. And I love that because when I think about our organization, we do not have a lot of D players, E players, F players. We don't have any D, E, and F players. But we don't have a lot of people who aren't trying to play at the A+ game. And we have to continuously set that standard. And sometimes it requires you getting back in there with your people and setting a new standard yourself. So let's talk about it. When our company first started, who was our first hire? I'm going to go to the whiteboard for this. Who was our first hire ever? So our first hire was a VA. And let me tell you why I still like that hire. I know there's a lot of people that are like, no, hire at the top, right out the gate. If you cannot afford that, you need to hire a VA. You need to hire her internationally or him, and you need to make sure that they are an A player in their field. I think the biggest mistake that I see entrepreneurs make is they think that their international team members aren't actual team members. So they don't onboard them. They don't treat them with any level of standard. Okay, this is who we hired when we were pre-revenue. We hired a VA. The next person that we hired, oh, that was big enough to fit there. Okay, I'm gonna do this again. Sorry, y'all, I'm gonna rewrite this. All right, a VA. Before I made my first dollar, I hired two things, a VA and a coach. Those are my first two hires, a VA and a coach. Now, here's how I did it. I recommend you save your top dollar for hiring the person who's going to give you information. They're going to educate you as the leader. Then what you're going to do is you're going to learn it, and then you're going to master it, and then you're going to hire someone to implement it. You're going to pay the implementer. Now, in general, implementers are typically paid less than people who are coming in with the strategy that are teaching you how to do it, which is why if you look at a Fortune 500 company, they'll pay McKinsey & Company two, three, four, five, six, eight, nine, $1 million to come in on a 10-week project to give information that their employees then are able to go and run with and make work. So if I need to learn how to run ads, I'm going to go pay someone who I couldn't even afford to have on my team to teach me ads. Then I'm going to go hire maybe an international media buyer who's going to implement that strategy. I was paying a marketing consultant $12,000 a month to teach me ads, and then we had a full-time person who was running the ads for like $1,200 a month, if not less, because they were actually implementing the strategy. They didn't come with the strategy, they implemented the strategy. Now, as your company grows, you're going to hire people who come with the strategy and who can implement the strategy. But can I give you guys a pro tip with hiring? Be careful of hiring executives that only want to think and not do. You cannot afford it, startup. You cannot afford it, startup CEO. You cannot afford it, scaling business owner. You cannot afford that. Okay? So if you want to hire someone to give you advice, that person needs to come in, transfer that knowledge to you, coach, consultant, etc. And then you need to go and find an implementer who's going to implement that knowledge. Another big mistake I see people make, they hire part-time because they're worried that they can't afford a full-time salary after they're generating revenue. But this was my pre-revenue team. That was it. That was pretty much it. Pre-revenue, we were right here before we made our first dollar. So pre-money, me and a VA. Now, here's where people get stuck. What did I have the VA do? Outreach, posting, pitching, DMing, setting up sales calls on my calendar. What were her KPIs? How many sales calls can you get on Ashley's calendar? Can she get 3 to 5 sales calls a week? Those were her KPIs. VA, coach. Coach is training me. The VA is implementing. Now, I came in with sales knowledge, so I didn't hire a sales coach. I already knew how to do that. I did not know how to do social media in the very beginning. So I was hiring people to teach me, like, how do you get attention on your page for social media? What posts are you making? What is the psychology behind that? What's the math behind that, etc. So that's what I was hiring people to do. Not where I was strong, but where I was deficient, but where I saw a gap in our marketing. That's where we were really hiring people. So VA and coach. Then we started making some money. So me and a VA, I feel like outside of a few people on Fiverr, this got us to like $500K. I think that's right. Yeah, that's about right. Now a little before that, maybe a little bit before that, before 500K, not in my coaching company, but in my law firm, because we built 2 businesses. At around 150, 200, maybe, we hired a full-time lawyer to deliver the services that we were selling. So I didn't want to be the bottleneck in delivery because I knew that my goal to keep a company healthy is to be out there selling, talking to groups of people, ensuring that they have what they need from me in order to close the deal. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't the bottleneck in delivery. But before I could hire a full-time lawyer, I used a tool called Law Clerk and was able to get contracted lawyers who were able to perform at a high level for a fraction of the cost. So can you hire someone on a contracted rate to deliver the services? Or do you have to sell all the services and deliver all the services? That gets old fast as you start selling more services. And you know you need to hire someone else to deliver the services when you start to realize that you're selling less services because you're worried about the delivery. When that starts to happen, baby, you got to hire somebody to get in there, okay? The next phase of who we hired is we hired someone to help with the marketing. So this is where like our ads person came in. This is where we started getting a full-time graphic designer. This is where we started getting our funnel builder, right? Because at this point we're doing launches. Before at 500K and less, we were doing sales calls, DMs, email, outreach, no launches really, maybe a couple of webinars here and there. But once you start doing launches, you need graphic designer, funnel builder, someone who's gonna do all those things. They can be contracted or they can be full-time. I'm a big fan of everything in-house. I'm not a big fan of outsourcing, meaning that someone is working for my company and 20 others. I will hire that person on a temporary basis, but they are not a long-term solution. I'm a big fan. I'm like Oprah. Oprah said, I read her biography like 20 years ago at this point when I was a teenager. And she said, bring everything in-house. And ever since, I've been like, cool. And that has worked really well for me. I've seen a difference between our company and how we've been able to grow and scale and other people's companies where they never built a team. They just never had anyone stay. And what I love about a VA is you can go in the Philippines, India, Pakistan, wherever, Trinidad, Ghana, all these places. You can hire someone who's incredibly brilliant, super good potential, amazing English, all the things. and they're ambitious, and you can give them opportunities that they just otherwise aren't getting. Most people are hiring VAs and treating them like glorified, like just task workers. You could hire a VA and have them as a real team member and ensure that you're training them, making sure you're building them up, giving them a way to see their future, all the things. It's very easy to compete. And where you want to hire depends on your budget, your skill set, the opportunity that you have. So then we started hiring our ads people, our graphics people, etc. Now, when I started building our coaching company, there came another level of full-time programming support. We didn't hire that until we were already doing like multiple millions of dollars, probably 2 million or more. Out before that, we had contracted people. Okay. Now, here's a general rule that I stuck with. I wanted to make sure that I was hiring within my recurring revenue, meaning the revenue that I had coming in every month from clients who were on retainers or long-term contracts and payment plans. I did not want to just hire out of the revenue I just believed I would make. I wanted to make sure it was sustainable. So for our law firm, we had retainer services. For our coaching business, we have long-term agreements. Like, we really wanted to build on a retainer model. It gave us a budget in which to hire. And believe it or not, y'all, even when people are on retainers with you, sometimes they don't pay. And you got to have your legal back end for that. You got to have your lawyers for that. All that stuff. We'll deal with that later. Now, I've always had legal stuff, but that's because I'm a lawyer. We've also always had an accountant, someone who I've never done my own taxes as a business owner. I don't think that's wise at all. But we did bring our bookkeeper in-house once we hit, I think it was maybe 2 million. We brought a bookkeeper in-house full-time. So one of the things that I would recommend to you as you're thinking about hiring is a couple things. Number one, your first hire needs to be someone who can do it all. It's just my opinion. I know people are going to be like, no, hire a specialist. If you cannot afford it, you need to hire one person who's ready to get in with you and build this business. Y'all, every day of the week, startups are paying pennies to people, not maybe exact pennies, maybe quarters. And they're working around the clock because they believe in the mission, because they have an upside, because they have bonus potential, because they have other things. The same way you craft offers to clients, you need to craft offers to team members, where it's like, hey, you'll get 10% of this product line, or hey, you'll be able to go and build this, or hey, you'll be able to do this thing over here. Like, you need to be really, 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 really committed to crafting good offers for your team so that they can grow and they can develop and they can go to the next level with you. But you could do a lot with a VA. You hear a lot of people talking about, oh, a VA is not going to be, look, we have built $1 million companies with VAs. Now, we eventually segmented the VAs. So it's not just like random VAs. It's like, okay, we have a graphic designer, full-time video editor. We have all these different people right now. You definitely want to make sure that you are treating them, though, like team members. There are KPIs for them. And the KPI needs to be tied to your sales goal. Hey, come in close, y'all. Come in close. Look. Listen to me. Can y'all hear me? Okay. This ain't the time to be hiring people that's giving you paperwork and ain't making no paper. Okay? This ain't that. You save your Canva coaches for later. Get you a sales coach, someone who knows how to make sales, someone who's in the business, someone who understands it. If you have a team member and they're not doing sales activities, they're wasting your money and you're wasting your time. You need people to make you sales. They need to be okay with doing that. You need to explain that in the interview. You need to train them on how to do that. Look, y'all, we are going to grow our businesses this year, but you're going to have to get aggressive with it. I was telling my team this on the call this morning. I'm like, yo, 2 years ago, we did the same campaign we just ran yesterday. 2 years ago, we got half the results. But this year, we did 6 times the efforts for double the results. I want you to keep that in mind. We doubled the results, but it took 6 times the effort. So what does that tell me? Okay, it means that you can still grow in this time, but it may take you doing more in order to get the same or greater results. And if you know that, then the people that you're hiring, they need to be like, I'm getting in the boat with you, and I'm ready to row. Save lazy people for later. This is not the time to hire lazies. Lazy's got to go somewhere else and work. This is the time to hire people who are like, I'm in the boat. How many calls I got to make? What's up? We're making this company successful. We care about this company. We care about that. And I'm going to tell you, character matters more than skill set when you're in the beginning phases of hiring. If someone gives you an indication that they are lazy, that they do not do their research, that they will not show up for you, they are the wrong hire in 2026. So how do you get these people? We have a whole crazy hiring process that people go through to work here, and I don't care. It's a wild process, but it works. We get good people. First step of the process. I can't show y'all all my secrets. That's for my mastermind clients. And if you want me to coach you, DM me the word coach, and I'll send you how you can become a client of mine. But step 1, post the job. There's a variety of international hiring boards you can post the job. In the job post, include a test. If you're interested in this job, DM me with this specific subject line with this little bitty test in the body of the email. If they do not follow directions, do not interview them. They aren't the one. Winners read. Period. Next step. After they do that, they do a written interview. The written interview is where I basically ask all the questions I'd ask in an interview. They send me a video with it. They do tests. They do all the things. It is long. It is not easy. People do not do it all the time. But the people that do, they're getting closer to becoming an A player in my mind. After they do the written interview, which it tells them everything they're going to do for the job. And I don't sugarcoat. Hey, if you're a startup, this is not your time to be interviewing people and acting like you're about to be their family member and it's going to be the best thing ever and they're not going to have to do any work and you just want to please them and you just want them to like you. If you have a problem with people liking you, get over it. This ain't the time for that. Do not pretend that your company is some well-oiled operation. Everything's going to be perfect. You're going to lay out the red carpet for them unless that's really the case. If that's not the case, just be real with people. You'd be shocked how many people want to work for somebody that's honest. Hey, we don't have everything figured out. Sometimes we have last-minute calls. You will have to work nights and weekends. I would say 2 to 3 times a month. It's not all the time. You have vacation. Here's what it looks like. People have stayed here for 5 years and gotten promoted, but they're winners. They're dogged about their careers. They really care about it. I want you to grow here, but only if you're the right person. If you are not the right person, this is not going to work for you. It is not easy to work for me. I consider myself the best, meaning I only hire the best. Like, I'm real with people in the interview. And some people be like, absolutely not. And then if they get to an interview with me because they passed the written test, next phase, trial week. It's paid. Trial week, it's paid. Over that week, am I training them? No, because it's a trial week. I'm giving them assignments. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for execution and critical thinking. Let me tell you right now, baby. Let's come close. This ain't the time to hire people who can't think and only use ChatGPT. I like ChatGPT. I love ChatGPT, but I can think without it. So I don't submit to ChatGPT. ChatGPT submits to me. Does that make sense? Like, it's good for people to use AI, but if they don't have if they're not using ChatGPT as a thought partner, but they're using it as a thought proxy, no, not gonna work, okay? It's not gonna work. So you wanna test these things. After they make it through the trial week, now we're talking about, now they know the salary for the job before, at the written interview phase, I ask their salary requirements. I'm not making people go through all these steps and then saying, oh, well, we only gonna pay you this much. No, you know the salary requirements. You know, first off, transparency is how we roll over here. You ain't gonna work here and be like, I didn't know what to expect. In fact, we send people one of my Behind the Build episodes and say, this is Ashley, this is how she works, this is how hard she works, this is what she expects. She goes hard for her business, she goes hard for her clients. This is what it looks like. She ain't gonna say good morning every time she talks to you. Okay? So if you need that, she ain't the one. Like, we give them, I have a reality show on YouTube called Behind the Build. Comment YouTube on Instagram to watch it. It's very good. Everybody can go look it up. It's called Behind the Build, The Ashley Nicole Show. And it shows me working. It shows me talking to my team, all the things. It shows me upset. Hello, sister gets mad. It shows me celebrating. It shows me tired, but it shows me working. I am an operator. I'm an owner-operator. I work in the business. I don't have a laptop lifestyle all the time. Now, I take my sabbaticals, child. It shows that too. But when I'm in town, baby, I'm working, okay? And I need people to understand my pace is your pace because I keep the pace of the company. Some of y'all move too slow, so it makes sense that you hire all them slugs, okay? Because you're moving slow, baby. You're moving slow. They like, ooh, this is the perfect boss because I'm going to be just as slow as them. That ain't going to work. And I'm going to tell you something else. If your team doesn't see you working, they will not work. They see you always chilling. They see you always complaining. They see you always online, not creating, just consuming. That's what they're going to do. You set the tempo. Every bad hire was my fault. Every great hire was my fault. Everything that worked, my fault. Everything that didn't work, my fault. Now, I'm a whole team members accountable, but then I'm going to have to change the system under which they work to give them more room to win. That's my job. That's literally my job, okay? And so I have to say that, okay? So now, I wish I could show you all my full org chart. So now we have about 17 people, and that may be a little bit too much depending on what you have going on. Most of our team is offshore. We have several W-2 employees in the U.S. Right now there's 4, but that includes me and Chris. We used to have 5, so 3 W-2 not including Chris and I. But now we have like 2 W-2 in the US. The rest of our people are offshore, full-time offshore contracted, and they are awesome. Really great. We actually fly to the Philippines several times a year to see them, or we've flown to the Philippines twice to meet them and see them. And our other team member who's in Trinidad, we've flown her to Mexico and other countries she can go to. You know, Trump's making it hard with visas, but she comes wherever she can come. I've met her. So I try to fly and meet my day ones, like my team. And some of them have been here for 5 years. 5 years, y'all. International hires, 5 years. Okay. And so I want you to just keep in mind, you don't see women winning without being crazy stressed unless they have a team. And back in the 1800s, Maggie Lena Walker knew this. Okay. She knew this all the way back in the 1800s, which is why she had a number 2. That's why she had Lillian Harris Payne. And no one handed Lillian a title. So she went after the levers instead. She started as a teacher. The paycheck was a step 1. And then through Black Women's Club, she connected with Maggie Lena Walker and stepped into the Independent Order of St. Luke right as it shifted from small benevolent society into a financial powerhouse. Here's what I want you to hear about that. You probably already know your best team members because they may be in your community. Our best U.S. hires have come from our community. They're people I already knew. I was so stressed about hiring people. I can't trust anyone. And literally the Lord put it on my heart. He was like, you already know who's going to be on your team. Because you need somebody that knows you, that cares about the mission, that's willing to help you grow it. Boom, you already know them. And so that was an aha moment for me. I don't know if it's an aha moment for you, but hire from your community. Do not be scared. I was so worried about it. I was like, oh my God, but like, what if this happens and they don't like me anymore and then this and that? And then I realized all of my fears were about likability, not about numbers, not about data, not about anything that really matters. It was just my own insecurity about how it will work out with my personality. Can I lead them? Will they still be cool with me if I'm going to be a leader and all of that? And it was just stupid stuff. It did not matter at all in the least bit because my role as a CEO is different than my role as a friend. And I try not to bring my friend role into my CEO role. I have a fiduciary duty to make this company make money and grow every year, period. That's my job. If I hire someone who's not able to understand that, then I just can't work with that person, okay? So hopefully this was valuable. We're gonna go deeper into team building at Black Women Sell Live. We also have an operations expert speaking at the event. Can't wait for that session. It's gonna be amazing. Come to the launch party that's happening on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, y'all. Jesus. If you own this, you may see an ad for it today. You should see an ad for it today. So come to the launch party tomorrow. It's gonna be great. It's at noon. It's gonna be so good. And I can't wait for that. I'm excited. Black Women Sell Live tickets are live to the general public. Ticket prices go up by $100 at midnight tonight. Go to blackwomensellavent.com and get your ticket. It is the preeminent sales training conference for Black women entrepreneurs. It's the best ever. We have a billionaire speaking. We have the great-granddaughter of one of our business icons in our community, and so much more. If you've never been to Black Women Sell Live, you do not want to miss this event. It's going to be everything, and I want to see you there. All right, guys. See you later. See you tomorrow. We're almost done with this Everyday Live series, but if y'all are enjoying it, leave me a comment. I appreciate it. Maybe we'll do something for March.